and welcome to tonight's review. Well, almost this morning's review because it's near midnight. Reason why it's so late is because I just finished work, and I'm going to stay up late because my next shift is an 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, so I'm going to have a little bit of beer before hitting the hay at approximately probably 3 a.m. or so. So, I'm calling this a Back in the Saddle review because I am back in the saddle. Dishwashing has kicked my ass, but it gave me a little bit of money. And, you know, I decided to go and spend it on beer. And what did I buy? Well, I went over to Tamura's, and what do you know? They had just released this week. This is Maui Brewing Company's POG IPA. There was only 3-4 packs left. And even though this is more recent than the Rye IPA, which I haven't reviewed, you know, is already flying off the shelf. This being limited release, it's probably not going to come back again. Having made the mistake in the past of ignoring a limited release for a week and then returning to find it no longer there, I decided to just go and get this and, you know, while it was on the shelf. And maybe I'll try that Rye IPA later, the autumn one. So, what is the POG IPA? This is 7.1 ABV. This is one that they're kind of famous for, which is why it was flying off the shelves. And it's a tropical India Pale Ale brewed with locally grown passion fruit, orange, and guava. POG is a very popular flavor. Passion orange guava is a very popular flavor here in Hawaii. It's also popular in popular culture because of the little milk cap game for POGs kind of originated here in Hawaii. And, well, passion orange and guava is kind of getting into the sort of flavor profile of, you know, the sort of juicy tropical IPA anyway. So without further ado, let's go and pour this one out. I'm going to be giving it a fairly vigorous pour, and as soon as you open it, you can smell that kind of ozone smell that a good IPA has, or an IPL has. We're going to be doing a vigorous pour because I found that this one kind of needs a vigorous pour for a good head. It's a very vigorous pour, and as you can see, it only got about a finger's worth of fluffy off-white head. Nice golden color with tinges of copper. Not very well carbonated, as you can possibly see here, or maybe not. It's kind of too dark. Nose on this is just wonderful. You get that sort of sharp, tangy ozone that I associate with good, heavily hopped beers. Very tropical. Passion, orange, and guava. What's interesting is the guava kind of floats on top of the passion and the orange. You can kind of tell that it's the adjunct there. Well, all three are adjuncts, but it's one that doesn't really have its own sort of you know, analog within a hoppy beer. So basically, you're kind of getting adjuncts here that sort of meld well with juicy tropical IPA's bouquet and flavor as well. Besides those notes of passion orange and guava, there's a bit of mintiness to it as well. As I said, ozone. Interestingly enough, kind of dry, biscuity malt smell to it as well. I'm also kind of shining through here a little bit more than you would expect for a kind of amped up IPA. Wonderful smell. Absolutely beautiful bouquet here. Perfect feel on the palate, just nicely carbonated, but not prickly so, as you would expect for the style. Good consistency on the tongue. Interestingly enough, not very much of a hoppy bite in the finish. juiciness there, then you know that it's an IPA. But not cloying. It's not resinous on the tongue after. That or my palate's becoming accustomed to IPAs. Most of the juiciness comes in the front and in the mids. There's some residual juiciness in the finish. The juiciness isn't very well defined. There's hints of passion orange guava there, but it's not very overwhelming. Definitely more just a general hop bitterness, general juiciness there. Interestingly, not very sweet. There's hints of sweetness, especially comes through in towards the end of the mids and into the finish, kind of lying there with that hot bitterness. Again, especially in the mids there, kind of biscuity malts. You're really getting a lot of malts in here. Not enough that you don't know it's an IPA, but you know, it's definitely balanced. If perhaps maybe just a tad overbalanced in the mouth and in the palate, towards the malts for the style. Best way to drink this, keep your nose open, inhale as you sip. Get that rich smell, because it's not as rich in the mouth. You know, you're definitely still drinking an IPA, definitely a tropical, kind of juicy IPA, but not much dimensionality there in the mouth part. Like I said, just kind of a ghost of tropical fruit flavor that's indistinct. You're not really getting that wonderful passion orange guava smell that you get from the nose. And what a nice one it is. Just take a deep whiff of it, especially where I still got the head here. Interestingly, I have to say, this is one of the drier IPAs I've ever had that are, you know, tropical as opposed to piney side. I've seen some people kind of compare this to Sculpin, grapefruit Sculpin. Honestly, I'd say that the grapefruit Sculpin is a bit better. There's a bit more dimensionality there in the body of the beer. Whereas this has great, you know, smell, great bouquet. Kind of, well, I'm not going to say meh, because I've had truly meh beers, but not as, you know, the body and, you know, taste doesn't, well, it's kind of disappointing after getting that wonderful bouquet there. So what can I say about POG IPA from Maui Brewing? Well, it's definitely what it says on the can here. It's definitely a beer with POG in it, especially in the smell. Just a bit in the taste, though. Is it something that I would recommend? Well, if you can find it in Hawaii, sure, why not give it a shot? If you're in Hawaii, you should be drinking local beers. And, you know, Maui's one of the best, I would say. Some people say it's the best. You can go on a lot of beer sites, they would say, oh yeah, that's the best one. My personal opinion, Big Island Brew House is better. But in, you know, for most beer heads, at least in regards to, you know, widely distributed beers, I believe that Honolulu Beer Works is getting quite a bit of a reputation, but they don't can or distribute by themselves anything more than growlers from their brew pub. But, you know, Maui's pretty popular. You'll find it just about everywhere. They make great beers. If I had to recommend it, I would say the pineapple wheat, you know, mono wheat is Probably the best of their main line, I would say. Give it a shot if you're able to find it. It's probably going to be pretty hard. It's probably off the shelf in a lot of places already. So, Maui Brewing POG, you got my review. And now it is time to go and kill time until it's time to sleep. I think I said time 3 times in that sentence. Wow, what a great time. Cheers all, and good night.